The Brooklyn Bridge, spanning the river between Manhattan and Brooklyn, stands as a true marvel of engineering and a testament to resilience. In 1883, a visionary engineer named John Roebling was struck by an ambitious idea, building a grand bridge to link the two cities. When he proposed this idea, however, he was met with disbelief and rejection. Engineers around him dismissed the plan as sheer madness and urged him to abandon it. Undeterred, John returned home and persuaded his son, Washington. Against the odds, they managed to secure funding from the banks, and construction began with excitement and determination. But only a few months into the project, tragedy struck. John Roebling was killed in a construction accident, and Washington sustained severe. Most people assumed the project would end there, believing that without the Roeblings, it was impossible to proceed. But Washington, though physically impaired, retained his sharp mind. While lying in his hospital bed, he devised a unique communication method. He would tap his thoughts using his one functioning finger on his wife Emily's hand, relaying vital instructions for the bridge's construction. Emily, undeterred by the difficulty, became Washington's voice and liaison, translating his instructions to the engineering team with unwavering commitment. For 13 years, Washington directed the construction through these painstaking efforts. Finally, the Brooklyn Bridge was completed, standing as a symbol of unyielding willpower and teamwork. Today, this remarkable structure reminds us of the Roebling family's belief. Never, never, never give up. Lessons from a martial arts teacher. A 10-year-old boy decided to learn judo, even though he had lost his left arm in a car accident. He began training with a Japanese judo master. After 3 months of training, the boy became puzzled. He had practiced diligently and progressed, yet his master had only taught him one move. Finally, unable to hold back, he asked, "Master, can't I learn any other moves?" The master replied, "This is the only move I will teach you. It is the only move you need to know." The boy didn't fully understand, but he trusted his teacher and continued to practice. Months later, his master entered him into a judo tournament. To his surprise, the boy easily won his first 2 matches. In the 3rd round, his opponent was more skilled, but after a while, he grew impatient. The boy saw an opening, used his one move, and won again. Astonished by his own success, he advanced to the final match. In the final, he faced a much larger, stronger, and more experienced opponent. The match quickly became challenging. The boy was repeatedly hit and overpowered. At the end of the 1st round, concerned about his safety, the referee moved to end the match early. But his master protested. Let him continue. As soon as the match resumed, the opponent made a critical mistake. He underestimated the boy and let down his guard. In an instant, the boy executed his single move, throwing his opponent to the ground and pinning him. The boy had won the championship. On the way home, the boy finally gathered the courage to ask the question that had been on his mind. "Master, how did I become a champion with only one move?" "You won for 2 reasons," the master replied. "First, you have nearly perfected one of the most effective moves in judo. Second, the only way your opponents could counter that move was by grabbing your left arm. But you don't have a left arm. Sometimes what appears to be a weakness can become our greatest strength. Having advantages is good, but turning a disadvantage into an advantage is even more powerful. Believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything." What life means to us is determined, not so much by what life brings to us as by the attitude we bring to life. Not so much by what happens to us as by our reaction to what happens. Lewis L. Dunnington. A newly graduated student eager to find a job, participated in a national creative competition organized by a university association. After months of intense preliminary rounds, he advanced to the final competition among the top contenders. In a grueling 3-day final round, he outperformed his competitors and won first prize, a substantial sum, more than he'd ever dreamed of as a student. After the ceremony, as he was leaving the spotlight and heading to the parking lot, a woman approached him. With a choked voice, she said, "Congratulations. It's such an honor to have won this difficult competition. I need to ask you for something, though it may seem inappropriate. If you had a child, you'd understand what I'm about to say." She went on to explain that her child was in the hospital with severe cancer, desperately needing a large sum for treatment. "How much do you need?" he asked, feeling genuine sympathy. After hearing her story, he didn't hesitate. Taking out the envelope with his prize money, he handed it all to her. "Take care of your child. I hope they recover quickly," he said. The woman thanked him profusely before disappearing into the crowd. A few days later, the young man returned to his university, where someone approached him with a concerned look. "Is it true that you gave your prize money to a woman who said her child was dying of cancer?" The student nodded. "Well, I hate to tell you this, but she's actually a con artist. There's no sick child. She tricked you." After a moment of silence, the young man asked, "So, there's no child suffering in a hospital?" "Correct. I can assure you of that," the person replied. "Oh, that's the best news I've heard all day," said the young man, smiling. "Let's celebrate there's no child who has to suffer," he added. Noble are those who bring joy to others in silence. In a quiet hospital room, two men faced their severe illnesses together. One man struggled with a debilitating lung disease, while the other was paralyzed, unable to move from his bed. Each afternoon, the man with lung disease would sit up for an hour to help his lungs drain, positioning himself next to the only window in the room. As the days passed, the two men grew close, sharing stories about their families, friends, and their time serving in the military. The man by the window would describe the vibrant life outside, filling the room with colorful images. "Look at that park," he would say. "There's a beautiful lake with swans gliding across the water. And over there, children are playing with paper boats." The paralyzed man would close his eyes, picturing the scenes painted by his friend's words. Couples strolling through rose gardens and children laughing, their joyous cries echoing in his mind. One warm afternoon, the man at the window excitedly recounted a military parade happening just outside. Even without hearing the music, the paralyzed man could envision the soldiers marching proudly, the colors of the flags billowing in the breeze. Days turned into weeks, and then one morning, the nurse entered the room to deliver water, only to find the man by the window had passed away peacefully in his sleep. The paralyzed man felt a deep loss, mourning the friendship they had built. After his friend's death, he requested to move to the bed next to the window. With great effort, he pushed himself to sit up and looked out, eager to see the world his friend had so vividly described. But instead of a lush park, he saw only a blank white wall. Confused and heartbroken, he later learned the truth. His late friend had been blind, unable to see the beauty of the world outside. Yet, he had chosen to create a world of joy and comfort for his friend, using the power of imagination to uplift his spirits. In that moment, the paralyzed man realized the true depth of his friend's love and selflessness. Though they were both trapped in their illnesses, one had dedicated his last days to bringing happiness to the other. It was a lesson that transcended their suffering, reminding him that even in darkness, the light of friendship could shine brightly. No matter how much the world is holding you back, always believe that what you want to achieve is possible. Believing you can succeed is an important factor in actually achieving it. A man was taking a walk through an elephant sanctuary when he noticed something peculiar. The elephants were not kept in cages or tied up with chains. All that prevented these massive creatures from running away was a simple piece of rope tied to one of their legs. The man was puzzled as he watched the elephants. Why didn't they use their immense strength to break free from the ropes and escape? It seemed effortless for them, yet they stood still, showing no signs of trying to break loose. Curious about this behavior, he decided to ask a nearby trainer why the elephants remained so calm and never attempted to escape. The trainer explained, "When these elephants were young, we used the same size ropes to tie them down. At that age, the ropes were enough to hold them. As they grew, they automatically believed that they could never break free. They think the rope still has the power to restrain them, so they never try to achieve their freedom." The man realized that the only reason these elephants did not attempt to escape was that, over time, they had come to believe it was impossible. The psychological scars from their past had prevented them from daring to dream of freedom. The lesson from these elephants is profound. Often, it is our limiting beliefs from the past that hold us back from achieving greater things in life. We need to cultivate confidence and not let previous failures bind us, for our potential may be much greater than we ever imagined.